news in recent times for criticizing various events in the country, drawing both praise and criticism. Speaking to MFR Power on the Lockdown on Joy News channel, the man of God said it's time to reform some norms about Ghana's political system.
I used to do what we call youth explosion. It was all part of a national transformation agenda to try and create a certain awareness for the youth, to educate them, to inform them, to make them build solid character. Now, we've done that for the youth. For 7 years, we're going around the country doing that. Now, we think that as a nation, people must, the awareness must come. For me, irrespective of the successes we have chalked as a nation, there's so much to be done. From your outfit or joy, I saw this video footage where you filmed the vehicles, gallopers that Rawlings bought at the tail end of his presidency, and then 110 or something, and left them when Kufuor came. They didn't use them, and as at last year or early this year, those gallopers had been reduced to nothing, and we had to pay judgment debt of $1 billion to the company. Okay, Kufuor came. He said there was a deficit of housing, and so we needed housing. Affordable housing. He built affordable housing, and Professor Atamils and His Excellency John Mahama came, and those buildings have still not been used. We see John Mahama build schools, build hospitals, build other things, and then our President Nana Akufo-Addo comes and his government says we will use it. Now, those monies used in building those things are not their personal monies. It's not from their pocket. It's our national money. And meanwhile, then we've been always having a budget deficit. So we have to always borrow to be able to make our budget work. So we go cap in hand to donor countries, collecting money, and we collect the money and we bring it and we misuse it. For me, it's a misuse. Is there not a cause for me to talk about it?
Well, Bishop Agyinasare also said he will continue speaking truth to power despite being targeted by critics.
We hear people talk about closure of churches because maybe one or two pastors misbehaved. We saw during the last NDC government where some pastors spoke and how some of the NDC guys took them on, insulted them. We are seeing the same thing happen now. In this, when some pastors speak, they would curse them, they would blast them, they will say all kinds of things. I think that we must come to a place as a people where we know that as pastors, we are also allowed to speak on national issues. This is our country. We have nowhere else to go. So if there's something going wrong, we should be able to talk about it. And when I talk about it and you disagree with me, state your disagreement. Don't insult me, because I won't insult you. And so when people begin to insult pastors and go on social media and use all kinds of words, then pastors are being targeted. And so I would say that pastors are being targeted. Yes.
Okay. Well, but do you personally feel targeted? I'm sure you've mentioned that you shouldn't insult
Yes. When I started speaking, people from all walks of life. And some even after my second week, some came to me and said, Bishop, you see, you have to beef up your security. Bishop, you have to be afraid, don't sleep in your house. When you sleep here today, well, look for another place and go. I said, I'm not going to sleep anywhere. I'll sleep in my house. I'm not going to beef any security.
Have you received any threats?
People have said things to the extent of even saying that they should close this church down, and other churches, especially charismatic churches, and those are threats,
Can a man close down a church that was built by God?
That's what some think they can do. But you see, what happens is that when people start saying things, for us pastors, integrity and credibility matters a lot. For other professions, you can succeed. They normally say that you don't need to have character to deliver for other professions. For our profession, you need character to deliver. If you go to 1 Timothy chapter 3, where it talks about the qualifications of a man of God, it states it there categorically. You can't be immoral, you can't be drunken, you can't quarrel, you can't fight, you can't be misbehaving. So for us, character matters. So if people will accuse you without proof, if people can mudsling you like they did, they mudsling me, they mudslung me, and but we are here.
Strong words from Bishop Agyinasare there. Well, the National Security Operatives have arrested leaders of a group suspected of extorting money from young graduates with the promise of a better life under a shady network marketing scheme. Now, the three young men who were initially arrested for